In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can use the Learning Outcome Planning template to begin the process of planning your online course or your online lesson. Now, the purpose of this template is to break down this process into manageable steps that walk you step by step through that experience of understanding what the problem is that your lesson or course is trying to solve, all the way through understanding what it is you want your learner to be able to do at the end of that lesson. Now, arguably, this sort of forms the basis of what that online learning lesson or course will become, so it's a very important step in the process. What I've done is I've created a template that'll help walk through each of these steps. So here, as you select the link, you're going to notice a screen similar to this. You can download a PDF, or I'm sorry, a PowerPoint version if you'd like, by going to File and then Download as PowerPoint. There's also several other options there. If you like Google Slides, you can use those as well. Just make a copy of it here. So here I'm going to actually go ahead and work with the PowerPoint version of it. So I'm going to open it up and enable editing. And you're going to notice 4 basic questions that this template will walk you through. So the first one deals with what problem the lesson is trying to solve. Now, at first glance or at first thought, this idea of a problem might seem a little odd to ask that. But really, at the core of it, every learning situation is meant to try to solve a problem, whether it be to help people gain new knowledge, help them build a new skill or ability, or generally provide awareness for a certain issue. And so here, within this first block, you will describe your problem in that regard. So for this example, let's just say how to change a tire. And the underlying problem might be the audience is generally not aware of the steps. Okay, now so you want to stay very problem-centered in this first thing. It's the why, if you will, of why we're developing the lesson. Now, the next item here is what the learner will be able to do after completing the lesson. So in this particular example, we're going to be able to say the learner can change their own tire. Okay, and so generally with that we could assume that if they were on the side of a road and their tire blew or had a hole in it, they would be able to change their own tire on their car. Now, how will the learner be able to demonstrate this ability? Well, so this is the part at which we would actually be able to observe them completing the task. So in this example, we could say the learner will demonstrate the process of changing a tire. And we're going to say during a simulated scenario. So for example, we might pull a car up and say, okay, let's assume that a tire has a hole in it, it's not working, you need to change that tire. So they would take the tire off, put it back on. So we developed essentially that activity that they could perform to be able to do that, to demonstrate that they know the skill. Now the final part in here, this block here, is what knowledge and or skills will the learner need to perform this task. Now this takes a little bit more thought because you're essentially working backwards to help understand what does the learner need to know in order to demonstrate this new ability or demonstrate this new skill. So for example, in this particular case, we might say something about identify the parts of a tire. We might also say something about list the steps to change a tire, or identify the tools needed to change a tire. There could be quite a few of these elements, or there could be only a few, depending on what it is that you're trying to plan your lesson around. The key point is here you're making some assumptions. You're assuming, A, does the learner know this already, or B, do I need to teach it to them? And so these are some things that you'll want to keep in mind, and we'll address that later in the design process. But these are the things that are needed in order for that learner to, what they will be able to do after completing that lesson, and specifically how will they be able to demonstrate that new ability here in this previous block. So I've walked through a very simple example of using this learning outcome planning template to begin outlining and planning what your online learning lesson or course will become. So I'd encourage you to give this a try. We'll bring it back, we'll provide feedback on it, and it's a process where you can make changes as we go, but this provides that initial framework for you to get started with. So good luck, let me know what questions you have in the process.